just dropping in briefly here. Peace and blessings to everybody that's tapped in right now. It is Thursday, May the 26th, 2022. Let me move my chair over a little bit. So, yeah, welcome to everybody. Peace and blessings go out to the families of the children and adults lost down in Texas at the high school there. Um, Reports of saying 21. Um, my condolences go out to those families. My hearts go out to, and it's just a shame, and it's sad. And the resemblance that incident resembles so many of the incidents that's been going on for the past decade now, and more so in the last 5 years. Okay, it's a resemblance. What just happened in Texas is a resemblance of what happened in Parkland, Florida, in the high school. Uh, I'm not here to make any excuses. I've talked about this over and over. You can go back and look into my archives when I speak. I've spoken about this, so I don't even. I'm not even going to spend a lot of time on it. I just want to give my condolences. And it's a shame that our federal government, these states, still haven't put anything in place to protect these children. To protect these children while they're in school trying to learn. They don't have enough SRO officers in these schools. They don't have enough security in the schools. They don't have the working cameras. They don't have security guards. They don't have anything. And how many times is it gonna have to take? We just seen last year what just happened and out in Michigan. Young kid did the same thing. And the warning signs were there. They continue to see signs of behavior. But in this instance, this 18-year-old kid comes up to this school, man, and just shoot up the joint. No security. What does it gotta take? These states need to put things in place to protect these students. If our children are protected, then what is? Okay? If we can't protect our children while they're in school, trying to get an education, making memories of good times in their lives and just making memories of the teachers, that they've come encounter with and had great times with in the classroom and just learning and the friends they make. If we can't protect them while they're innocent children, if they're just, for God's sake, we can't protect the babies, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. You hear me? And as I say to the parents and all the family, friends, those who lost loved ones in that incident in Texas this week in the school, my heart goes out to you, and I'm filled with anger each and every time I hear these incidents, because I just spoke about this as well, and I broke down the book Why Metal Died, and I showed you guys that given to me by a good friend, and broke down how these counties and these states are not putting funding behind security for the schools. I broke that down. But yeah, if you really want to get understanding, I don't want to get up right now. I showed the book before. You can go back in my archives and see, when I talk about the school shootings, I think it's titled Why Metal Died. It's and it's also a book. You can get the book Why Metal Died. Young lady that died in a Parkland high school shooting. in Florida. Her dad did some extensive research, and they wrote the book, and he talked about his time and experience, and the young kid that did the shooting down, who was responsible for the shooting down in Parkland High School in Florida. The father, they did some extensive background check, and they went back in this young kid's history. He was failed. He had mental health issues. His mother cried out for help at times, and he wasn't even supposed to be in that school, in that high school with those children. He wasn't supposed to be in that school. He was supposed to have been in a special school. He wasn't supposed to be there. They allowed him to come into that school. So, and he, up leading up to the days of him shooting up the school in Florida and Parkland, he was sending pictures and things of him doing videos of him tormenting animals. So this, what happened in Texas, resembles what happened in Parkland High School. Only difference is the young kid that did the shooting in Parkland High School, he went to the school. This young kid went to the school and just shot up. I mean, an 18-year-old. I mean, come on, man. The signs are there, and I guess the grandfather or whatever is saying that he didn't know that he had guns in the house. Okay, you might have not known that, but you never seen any other signs. For God's sake, he shot his grandmother in the head. Like, you didn't see any other signs from, like, something was strange. That's why I say, ladies and gentlemen, talk to your children. Don't let life consume you so much that you don't take a minute and step back and tap into your children. Just talk to them. Conversation. We're adults. We've been on this earth a lot longer than our children have, right? Step back. You should be able to see something different. That's your child. If nobody else should be able to tell you anything about your child that you don't already know. You should not find out things about your child that are like disturbing, that you should know these things. Nobody else should know that. Nobody else should know before you. Let me add that. Nobody else should know before you about your child and the challenges or things that they're going through. Nobody. Okay? So, once again, my condolences to the families and their children and relatives and were involved in that horrific act down in Texas at the school. So moving on, I want to talk about this situation with the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. President Joe Biden, I don't feel like that's a win. There have been many black men and women and boys and girls that have been gunned down by police, local police. Just to name a few, of course, George Floyd, Michael Brown, Dante Wright, Willie McCoy, Atatiana Jefferson, Amari Cryers, Breonna Teller, and Sandra Bland. That's just a name of. That's not even a name of few. That's just naming some names. Okay, there have been over, like, you want to figure within 5 years, the past 5 years, okay, alone, you have 229 black men, women, and kids, being killed, shot innocently with no weapons at the hands of local, or by the hands, I should say, of local law enforcement, not federal, okay? Not federal officers. Local. Put it in place for the local. That is a joke to me, man. And we're applauding something, and you're saying, "Oh, well, I'm having there's incentives if local law enforcement would get involved in put their agency on a registry, so if their officers on this registry. No, that should have been federal law. Like, no, every police department, that should be federal law. We have a crisis here. We have a crisis here with that situation, with these cop killings of innocent people that don't have, they're innocent until proven guilty, for one. Number two, they don't even have weapons on them and they're being gunned down. We have a crisis here around this country. Okay? That is one of the crises that we have. Okay? And speaking on, just these random acts, my condolences to the people in Buffalo, and to the Asian community. You have people just going in, just shooting up innocent people, man. They're just, you can't even be in a house of worship. You can't, like, you go in a grocery store. I mean, you just got all of this going on, man. This behavior. We have some sick people walking this earth, and it seems to have gotten sicker over the last decade. And we need things in place. We have people put in they're in these positions of government, that legislation, that pass laws, and what are these folks doing? What are these folks doing? But we'll often go around and brag about how our city and or whatever said city and state is the best place to live in America, and this and that. America is in trouble. You can't even go to a house of worship. You have to really watch it and stay prayed up going to the house of worship. People are coming and shooting up house of worship. How sick. You can't even go to a grocery store and shop. We can't even keep the babies protected. We're in trouble. And we have people pussyfooting around. There's no more times to play, politics. You have to do some work now. It's been time to do work for a long period of time. And now that it's time, people are falling back and ducking in for cover and hiding in the crevices of everywhere, because they don't want to do their job, because they never was doing it from the start. And now when it's really time to do some things, there's so many things we're looking for. People are looking to get, excuse from their federal student loans. You're still trying to find out about that. It's still a game with that. See, the serious issues that need to be handled, like real issues that need to be handled, there's a lot of pussyfoot. There's a lot of dragging their feet. There's a lot of kicking the can down the road. The serious issues that need to be addressed by every state, by most of the states are in this country, are not being addressed. The country is not addressing a lot of the issues that it have, and it's kicking the can effect. Okay, it's been time to do some work, and now you see, when it's time to do some work, who's really trying to work. I said this at the beginning, two plus years ago, when I came back on my YouTube page here. I said, this is a reset. It's my very first video I did. You could go way back. I got 155 videos. This will make 156. Okay? In the last 2.5 years. Okay? It's 155 videos. Okay? Once a week. Sometimes I drop 3 a week, I'm not every day with it. Alright? And most times I'm dropping videos between Thursday and Friday. Maybe Saturday, depending on what's going on, but mainly is on Thursdays, and mainly between Thursdays and Fridays. And so I have 155 videos, right? And I've talked about a reset period. You know, the very first video I did at the height of the pandemic, you know, it was about March of 2020, that first video that I come back to my YouTube page. So my YouTube page has been here since 2010. I had this page, this channel, I say. This channel has been up since 2010, and I've had videos there, but it sat dormant for a while, you know, and I picked it back up in 2020 during the pandemic, and I just felt the need to start speaking to the people and try to give some direction, because I just knew, you know, brains and minds would be cloudy with so much going on at that time. And I started talking, just trying to motivate, inspire, and just give some knowledge and understanding of other things that's going on in the world, to try to take people's minds off of just with the COVID situation that we are dealing with. And in that video, I said this is a reset period. You will see, we're gonna see who is really in our governments that are trying to do things. Local governments, federal government. You're gonna see who's really there to do the job, and we're gonna see who goes ducking and hiding. I said that in that first video. And so now at this present day, you step back and look, and you ask yourself, what have you actually seen been done? A lot of money's been passed down during the pandemic. A lot of money's been passed down to these states around this country, for education, for housing assistance, with paying your rent if you were behind, or, you know, helping with mortgages, I believe, as well too, if you were in dire need of that. Food assistance, if I didn't say that, definitely food assistance for folks. So yeah, there's a lot of things been handed down, but when I look around, and just in my local city that I'm in and state, I'm looking and saying, what have you actually done? What has the city that I'm residing in actually done for the people? What did they motion to do for the people that were working, doing, that were considered essential? Outside of what the federal government done, what has this city actually done for its people? And I say nothing. They pretty much given crumbs. What have they done for the public actually? Nothing. So, you know, you just look around, and it's like, when things are needed, the people need help in different areas. Okay, the country needs help in different areas, and we not seeing it. We're not seeing it. You know, we're not seeing it. So I'm just like, you know, it's amazing to me, you know, that, you know, when you know something and then you see it happening, you know, and, you know, it just amazes you. And then so you see things like this, the George Floyd Policing Act, and then you see the president passes that bill, but it's for federal law enforcement. And you're like, wait a minute. Black men and women, young children and young girls have been getting gunned down by local law enforcements around the country. This has been happening by the hands of local law enforcements around the country. Okay? From New York to DC, to Detroit, to Michigan, to the state of Michigan, period, California. I mean, it just goes on and on. You know, it's been happening, and you pass something for federal officers, instead of like coming and making, like getting together, putting their heads together, legislators, and coming up with some type of federal bill. It's just amazing to me. And then we have our babies getting gunned down in school, man. Our babies, man, getting gunned down in school, man. What do they do? They're playing, they're learning, they're enjoying life, they're carefree. And we got idiots running around here with mental issues that have been overlooked, their own families not paying attention to them to get them the help that they need, and they're running loose out here and they're hurting families. They're hurting families. Whole families. They're running around. What is an 18-year-old doing running around with that type of weapon? And his grandfather said he didn't know he had it. Okay, but you never seen any issues with this young man? You never knew nothing was out of the, you never noticed anything was out of the, like, it was just unordinary, like something was strange with him? Did you ever stop and sit down and talk to him? Because if you did, you should have been able to detect something wasn't right. That's why I say, ladies and gentlemen, please talk to your children. Please talk to your children. Please talk to your people, period. Adults, even if you got friends and you think they're dealing with something, talk to them. Try to assist them. Try to help them. If you know that someone's around you and they're close to you and they're dealing with something, pay attention to them and try to get the help. Because we have folks getting, and I'm not saying it's your responsibility, but it is. If they're your friend, if they're your relative, and you see something is not right with them, and you see something is going on with them that's just not right, and they can possibly hurt somebody, and if you feel like you need to get away from them, then why don't, if you're gonna get away from them, alert the proper authorities and people to assist. Don't just walk away and leave that person when you know that something is wrong. You've cleared yourself, but this person that you know very close, they're your family, your friend, and maybe your child, you know, and you're leaving them to the people, for the people, I should say. You're leaving them for the people. And they're going and they're going to do some things that's going to harm people. If you know this, if you know something is off, please contact the proper authorities and get someone involved, because we have people walking around here hurting people, and we all know, we all have come up and known at times, if we lived in neighborhoods or areas that someone that may have been dealing with a mental issue, we all knew who that person was. You know, we all knew, may have known who that person was. At least I know. I came up and I was a young kid, and I know when somebody, I didn't know that mental health, what it was at a young age, but I knew that if I seen something was off, and I would say something to a adult like, "Hey, what's wrong with that guy, or what's wrong with that lady, or what's wrong with that little girl or that other little boy there? What's wrong with him?" You know, because I don't know. I guess I was just, you know, observant. I noticed things, and that was as a child, as a kid. But today we must protect our children. We're having trouble protecting our babies today, and it's just sad. You know, it is just sad. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking. And you have to step back, everyone. You know, a lot of people, like I said, and you know what's so crazy? I talk about voting on a local level and paying attention to your local government the same way you pay attention to the federal level, and presidential races, I should say. Look at your local government. This is where it lies at. Vote. Pay attention to who you're voting for. Don't just vote for somebody because you may know them, or because they've been on the bill, they've been on the ticket for years. That's part of the problem. They've been on the ticket for years and you haven't seen anything change. It's time to change. It's time to start turning the page and get those people out of here. Point blank, period. No ifs, ands, buts about it. Okay? And a lot of these things with the schools, it's come with not the security, not having that proper SRO officers, just the security for the children while they're in school. When we talking about that, period, it's local level. It comes from the local level. I tell you right now, I don't want to get up and get the book. But like I said, you go back into my archives here on my YouTube channel, you will see I talked about why metal died. Um, that book, you can find that book on Amazon. You should be able to find that book where all books are sold. Uh, why metal died. Okay, uh, and that's about the Parkland High School shooting that took place down in Florida. Meadow, her father broke down. He went through the whole system and talked about Florida and talked about, you know, different the funding. It was always about the money, you know. So they didn't want to spend money on certain things. He broke down. He did some extensive research on a young man's history. You know his history. The young man that did the shooting. So that book will give you a clear understanding. You will understand what is going on around this country. You know, I brought that book present to you guys to in that video when I did that video about why metal died, and I broke down. It was I forget what shooting took place. I believe it was the shooting that took place in Michigan. It was something else that took place. I mean, you just have so many incidents with these shootings going on. Um, but I talked about it. I broke it down. You know. And so when you get that book, you will clearly understand. It will give you a firm understanding of what's going on, and then you know where the problem lies. And it's local government. It's on the funding level. But now the federal government gave so much money during this pandemic to education that it shouldn't be a problem for security for none of the schools and the counties around this country because the federal government gave trillions of dollars up for the education departments around this country. Every state got a hefty lump sum for their education in their state. Okay, so it should be no reason why security shouldn't be taken care of. And the money that the federal gave during the COVID relief aid for schools for education, that is to be used for the education, for anything education. And that right there, security should been top priority on the list of all the things that have been happening. Every state has been able to bear witness to what's been happening at another state with these incidents. And every time it happens, these states, they all do the same thing. You have the states, oh, we have to do that, and nobody had done nothing. After the Michigan, what happened in Michigan when a young man went and shot the school up, then you had states running around, especially in North Carolina where I'm at. They were running around. Everybody's acting like they want to beef up. Where's the security? Get the security. Before in closing, I'm gonna say this: put metal detectors in your schools. You got a lot of schools up north in the tri-state area, in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, you know, Pennsylvania. A lot of those schools have metal detectors. If we can have the system we have going through the airport, why can't we have that same? Why can't we have something similar to that in a lot of these schools? You know, when we think about the other schools around the country, you know, outside of the schools up north, why can't we have that to protect our children? If we're protecting ourselves to go fly on a plane, what's the average flight on a plane? 5 hours, unless you're going really overseas somewhere. What's the average flight in this country? You are attacking layovers and everything like that. The average could be about 5 hours. You know what I'm saying? If we can have that type of security to take a 5 hour flight just in this country, why can't we have that for our students that are our children that are in school for 7, 8 hours a day? Why can't we protect our babies? Why are we having a hard time to understand that? Why is that even a question? Why is money even an issue when we talk about security? But we can secure everything else that we love. We can secure our home. We can secure our cars. We can secure ourselves to fly on a plane. We can secure ourselves at hotels, have all the beefed up security. We can be entertainers and walk around with a whole squad of security. We can have the president secured by this whole motorcade. Like, are you serious? We can do all of that, but our babies are sitting vulnerable, just, just, just for the taking. They're sitting there, and our babies are getting killed in these schools, just trying to learn and have fun and make memories. Our children are getting gunned down. I don't understand it. That's my time, ladies and gentlemen. It's always student lives matter to me. It's always about that. We gotta take care, and we gotta take care and stand up for our children, man. Jesus Christ.